And hello everyone, welcome to Power Scanning. It is October 11th. My name is Daniel, and once again, we will be on the lookout for the most interesting setups for the week and the weeks ahead. And oh boy, what an end to the week it was yesterday. It has finally happened, guys. Finally, we saw what we were looking for now for the last couple of weeks, perhaps months. A pullback has happened on the big indices and the major stocks. Um, it's just a pullback for now. And in my view, it will possibly just stay a pullback. And what this means is there is so much opportunity out there right now to, rejoin the bullish trends at most of the indices and, values and stocks that have been in for a long time. In any case, we're going to get into all this, but first off, before we look at the charts, where are you guys calling in from? Who do we have in the room today? So I'm calling in myself from Montreal, from Canada, here from our beautiful office, the Trading Indicators headquarters. Who else do we have? Please put your location into the Q&A box. Edda from Cyprus. You're back in Cyprus, Edda. I think it looks like you're commuting between Cyprus and Hamburg. Niels from Basel. Hey, Niels, how are you? Aubrey, also from Cyprus. Awesome. Warm greetings. Yeah, I guess literally warm greetings from Cyprus. Daryl from San Francisco. Hey, Daryl. Nice to see you. Steffen from Hamburg. Hey, Steffen, wie geht's? Moin, moin. Who else do we have? Please put your location into the Q&A box. We have Ven from Clearwater, Florida. Hey, Ven. Nice to see you again. Carmen from Switzerland. Where about in Switzerland, Carmen? Are you from Zurich or from some other place? Gerald from Santa Fe. Hey, Gerald, how's it going? Hector from Mexico City. Oh, that's a great place. I've been a few times to Mexico City. It's a fun place to be. Bob from Alexandra in Virginia. Hey, Bob, how's it going? David from Delaware, and he says, "Nice presentation on Wealth 365." Well, thanks there. That's nice to hear. Thank you so much. And Carmen from Books, Switzerland. Okay, all right. I don't know. Books. Okay, I'm mistyping. Okay, I don't know that place. All right. And it's in the Rhine Valley. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your location. Let's get into it. And we also have Adam from South Florida. Perfect. Okay, so once again, today we will be on the lookout for the most interesting swing trades for the week and the week ahead. And just as a reminder, a swing trade typically lasts between 2 to 20 weeks. So it's not a super long-term investment. It's also not a day trade where we would open the trade and close it out within the same day. And what we're going to show you today is our scanning process using our Liquidity View dashboard. The beautiful thing about this is it will just take a few minutes. So this webinar is scheduled for 1 hour because we're going to explain everything and answer questions and look at individual requests. But if you do it yourself, you can do the same scanning process in less than 15 minutes. So we call it the 13-minute Sunday strategy, but it doesn't have to be on Sunday. It could be on Monday, on Tuesday, because every single day, whenever the market closes, new setups will arise, and some other setups, they will come to fruition. So this is something you can do every day, and it's been something that has become part of our routine for many years now. Now, if you're wondering, who are we? Well, we are tradingindicators.com. As mentioned, my name is Daniel. I'm the guy here on the left-hand side, and together with Homer in the middle, we have built trading indicators from the ground up about 10 years ago. And around 5 years or 4 years into our journey, Nicholas has joined us. Nicholas is also in the chat today, and Nicholas has been instrumental behind many of our latest innovations in terms of trading indicators. But we not only develop trading indicators, we also develop what we call trading scanners. And one such trading scanner we're going to show you today. It's our Liquidity View dashboard, which allows you to quickly scan. When I say quickly, it's instantaneously scanned through thousands of stocks. It tracks almost 6,000 stocks to find the ones which have just the right setup. And how this works and how we use the scanner to find the most interesting swing trades, this is what this webinar is all about. Now, one more thing, please make this webinar your own. So if you have any questions or symbol requests, don't be shy. Please put those into the Q&A box. All right. I also need to remind you that trading does contain risk and therefore is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is money that you actually can afford to lose. when it comes to backtest performance or hypothetical performance, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance, and any trade ideas and setups discussed in this webinar should not be construed as trade advice. These are for educational purposes only. All right, before we look at the charts, a couple of housekeeping items. First off, we are having a live trading workshop scheduled for this weekend. Nicholas, please put this link into the chat box. Registration is completely free. We will do this with our friends from WHS Self Invest, a German brokerage company. And this is also why this live trading workshop will be held in German, which is, as you can probably tell, my first language. So we're going to have this in German. So if you're German speaking, I invite you to join this Wednesday, October 15 at 12 p.m. Eastern time, which is 6 p.m. Germany time. So for the German speakers among you, please join me at this live trading workshop. Also, and Nicholas, please put this into the chat box. Perfect. All right. Next off, we also have recorded a bootcamp, which discusses every single feature of our Liquidity View dashboard. It's I don't know, it's a very long bootcamp. It's 2 hours or maybe even more than 2 hours because it's very detailed. And it's also because our dashboard has so many features now. If you want to know what these features are all about, check it out at tradingindicators.com/bootcamp. Also, we have posted quite a few trade ideas, mainly day trading ideas, into our Discord channel. So if you don't know where our Discord channel is yet, simply go to tradingindicators.com/Discord. It was quite active this week where we posted numerous trade ideas. And many of those have worked out quite nicely over the last week. So check it out at tradingindicators.com/Discord. And of course, this Discord channel is also an opportunity for you guys to post ideas, to learn from one another, and to interact with our community. So please check it out. And lastly, you can download an ebook. It's completely free, called The Power of Three, which details our 3 main setups that we typically go through in this power scanning session. So the link for this is tradingindicators.com/power of 3. And one last sentence to this. If you have any ideas about further improving our great dashboard, please don't be shy. The more ideas we get, the more inspiration we will get. And this will also increase the chance that we're actually going to implement your suggestions. So please, don't hold back. Any idea is welcome. And with this, you can shape the further direction of our great Liquidity View dashboard. All right. Now, with this, let's get into it. So I'm going to start with the market review. And one famous quote from Winston Churchill comes to mind, inspired by the events that transpired on Friday. Never let a good crisis go to waste. What do we mean by this? Well, markets have pulled back. And it was very funny. Basically, every single symbol has pulled back on Friday. The overall markets, the big indices, the Russell, Bitcoin has pulled back a lot. Oil has pulled back. Everyone has pulled back except for one. I'll let you guys guess what has not pulled back. And maybe it's not a surprise to you, but I always find it fascinating. So everything pulled back, even the foreign markets, they pulled back on Friday, except for one symbol, which we typically look at, which is gold. Gold is relentless. Gold has been keep on going, grinding up higher. Unbelievable. So gold and silver. Yeah, thanks, Daryl. Absolutely. So apparently immune to any market turbulence. How does reflects on the chart? Let's check it out now. So I'm going to open up our Liquidity View dashboard. Just hang on with me. There we go. And here we go. So this is our Liquidity View dashboard. You can see we are scanning right now through 5,694 symbols. We're going to use the scanner in just a bit to find very interesting setups. But for now, let's look at the global markets, starting with the SPY. All right, the S&P 500 ETF. So what do we see once this chart loads? Well, we can see we had a really big bearish bar on Friday. There's no question about this. It is a big bar. And we finally pulled back. And we've mentioned it, I kind of sound like a broken record. I have mentioned it for many weeks now that, hey, I personally will sit on my hands, stay on the sidelines until I see at least a level 3 correction or pullback in the SPY. Guess what happened? Yes, we did have this level 3 correction on Friday. Nothing dramatic, These are completely normal. You can see it here. These are happening in frequent intervals. And this was the first level 3 correction since August. So it's been quite a while. And finally, we've seen this one. And depending on how the market opens on Monday, I will use this opportunity to add to my existing position in the SPY. That's more of a long-term trade. I'm not necessarily a swing trade, but just letting you know what I'm going to do with this. Because so far, every single level 3 pullback was a great opportunity to, add to your position, because shortly afterwards, this was bought up and prices grinded further upwards. One interesting thing too, which I noticed in the aftermarket yesterday. So if I'm gonna go quickly to Trading View to show you this, where is my Trading View? 1 second. There we go. So here's the SPY, and this is a 15-minute chart of the SPY, and I have enabled extended hours for this ETF. Typically, I don't have it. I have it on regular hours, but just for the fun of it, I'm gonna enable the extended hours because something fascinating is happening. Before I lead up to this, I want you to see what has happened in the futures market yesterday after 4 p.m. Because as we know, the futures, they're trading 1 hour later till 5 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm going to open up the MES, the Micro E-mini S&P 500 futures. What do we see here? Well, we see after 4 p.m., we did have this huge bearish bar right into the futures close. Do you see this one? Big bar. This was not reflected in the SPY with regular trading hours. So if you go to the SPY, all we can see is this bar basically here, this bar leading up to 4 p.m., but not this big bearish bar. All right. Now it gets interesting. So if I go back to the SPY, and if you look at the regular trading hours, we can see this is this bar here leading up to 4 p.m., 3:45. Now, if I enable the extended hours, you can see it here. Look what happened now. We had this big pull. This is the futures, this big bearish bar on the futures. It's right on here. Yeah. And then the futures closed. And, many of you probably were a little bit concerned. Oh my God, what's going on right now? The futures even dropped further after the stock market closed. But then something interesting happened. Look at this one here. We went down a little bit further, but then there were signs of a bit of a recovery. Yeah, towards 8 p.m. Eastern time or 9 p.m. So to me, perhaps a very gentle sign that this is just a pullback, and potentially this was an overreaction of the markets to whatever tariff war Trump has started with China, and potentially we are seeing early signs of a recovery already. So if that's indeed the case, I will use this as an opportunity to add to my SPY position. So very interesting there. What about the QQQ? So back to our regular dashboard, the NASDAQ 100 ETF. All right, so we're seeing it here. It loads up. Also here, a big bearish bar on Friday, and here it's even a little bit more intriguing to add to my existing QQQ long position. As you may know, I have open positions in both the QQQ and the SPY, and every time I see a bit of a pullback, I'm trying to add a bit more to it as a long-term investment. So what do we see here? Well, if we look at our scanner, I'm going to scroll over a little bit to the right-hand side to the Liquidity IQ setup column here. We see long break retrace. Yes, this is actually one of my favorite setups to trade. It happens when price previously broke above resistance. You can see it here. We went up and then pulled back down to this resistance level. It's not the most beautiful one because typically, at least I like symmetry. I would like to see that the speed at which we moved up to the high point and the speed with which we move back to the broken resistance level is about the same. So the number of bars to go up is about the same number as the bars to go down. This is, of course, not the case here. We went down just one big bar. So at least I will be a bit careful and wait, of course, till Monday the market opens. I have no choice to evaluate whether I want to trade this setup or perhaps this could be an even deeper pullback. But also on the QQQs, what's interesting, if you look at the aftermarkets, we do see early signs that, hey, this might have been, there's early signs of a recovery potentially from this big move down. We moved up towards 8 p.m. in the aftermarket. Afterwards. All right. So that was the QQQ. What about the Russell? All right. So the Russell is also interesting. There's so many interesting symbols to watch right now. I'm super excited already for Monday when the market opens. I'm really curious what's going to happen. So it looked like for a bit that the Russell was about to break above this key resistance level. A resistance level which has been established since the highs of 2021. This is a really, really big deal. This level, it's been there since 2021. Back here, November 2021, we were at the current price levels in the Russells already. Then huge pullbacks to the downside. We reapproach this level in 2024. Another huge dramatic bounce of it. And now once again, we are struggling with this level. And of course, on Friday, as every single symbol has turned down, also the Russell lost quite a bit. It's now trading at 237. We'll still extend it. We're kind of a no man's land. And I would not be surprised. Looks a bit like a falling knife that we would go at least to this former resistance level here on Monday. But then once again, who knows what's going to happen? Lots of things can happen over the weekend. This is a political correction. It's driven by political news. It's not like something fundamental on the market. It can change over the weekend if the sentiment of these politics of the tariff war with China may change over the weekend. So we have no influence on this, and I guess we just need to see on Monday how things are opening. Yeah. Okay, so that was the IWM. What about oil? Let's go to oil. The United States Oil Fund. All right. Well, I'm not going to change my mind on the United States Oil Fund or on oil in general. It is a sideways move. We are caught, still caught. It doesn't matter, even if this correction on Friday or this move down on Friday, this gap down, we're still caught in the middle, in between these two extremes here, this upper resistance level 83 or around 83, and this level down here at 63 or 60. So we're kind of still in the middle of these things. And until we get to either extreme, I'm just going to sit on my sidelines. It's really hard to read sideways markets like this when we are stuck in the middle. It gets easier if we get to the extremes, because then we can either play the bounce, or if we see a significant or sustained break, we can play the breakout move. But right here in the soup, as the option person would say, I personally will just stay on the sideline. It's just too chaotic to some degree to me. Now, let's look at Bitcoin. Oh boy, even for Bitcoin, I mean, Bitcoin moves a lot. We know this, it's quite volatile. But what we saw on Friday was absolutely extraordinary. Look at the size of this candle. It might have been one of the biggest candles I have seen on Bitcoin. How many price points did we move? Let me measure this one out, because this wick also was really big. So where's my ruler? From here down to, yes, this was the end point. That's a 14.63% move on Bitcoin. 17,900 points move on Bitcoin. Extraordinary. But what's also interesting is that, yes, we did wick down all the way to support down here at 110,000, even went further down. But we could not break it, and we closed higher from this level. And to me, if you buy into the sentiment, perhaps we saw an early sign of recovery. Like in the QQQ, it went up in the post-market. In the SPY, it went up again in the late hours of the post-market. And of course, Bitcoin trades 24/7. We wicked all the way down, but then we recovered as the market closed at midnight. And if you look at today's live price of Bitcoin, by going to this live chart here, we can see we're kind of still around this area, a bit lower right now. So I guess it remains to be seen. But, Monday is going to be super interesting. And of course, to some degree, Bitcoin and the big indices, they are to some degree correlated as well. So if one goes up, the other one may go up as well. And one goes down, the other one goes down. We've seen this right here. All right. Now, let's look at gold. Yes,
Daniel,
we mentioned gold. Yes.
before we go ahead, can we just cover some things that came in early, some questions?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So, yep, everybody who said gold, you were right. That was what Daniel was talking about before. And I don't think we mentioned it. Maybe I missed it. But everybody, if you want to follow along, there's a free 7-day trial of the dashboard. The link is just posted in the chat now.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, that's right. So it's tradingindicators.com/view for this free trial. Absolutely.
Perfect. And Daniel, if someone wants to make sure that they have access to the German CapTrader webinar from this morning, what would they do? I'll send them your email.
Yeah, this one actually will be uploaded onto the CapTrader YouTube channel. So Andreas, if you missed it, yes, it took place this morning. You would need to wait about a day, and then they're gonna post it on the CapTrader YouTube channel, where all these Scan IQ webinars are posted. And what you can do on YouTube, search for CapTrader and then Scan IQ, it will come up.
Thanks, Daniel. Good to go.
All right, perfect. Okay, so gold. Yes, everything pulled back except for one symbol. Gold has been relentless. Gold and silver, just unstoppable. In fact, in gold, look at this. It's funny, it's so fascinating. Ever since we broke above this resistance level, it just went into one direction. Look at trend radar down here. It's all green besides this one measly little pullback here on the 18th of September. It's been just one way up. And even this bearish bar here, on Thursday, it was not even Friday, on Thursday, nothing reflected on trend radar. This is still super extended. I'm scared to invest right now. Um, it's, you know, Jim, the optimist, said something interesting on, when was it, on Thursday or Wednesday when we had our options webinar. This is unactionable. What you're going to do. So if you are flat gold right now, entering at these price levels, to me, is almost, it's too expensive. And if you are in this trade, would you close it out now? Also not. So it's an unactionable state of affairs in gold, just so extended. It's really hard to trade. So I'm not in it. I'm flat right now. I'm gonna wait for a pullback, even if this takes another month or so. This pullback will come, of course. It's a question of when, not if. So this was gold, and let's look at silver real quick as well. SLV, the silver ETF. iShares ETF. Let's check it out. Also silver. Unstoppable. We had a bit of a turbulent Thursday. Yeah. Yesterday we actually ended up with a doji, which is a bar which where the open price is very close to the close price, and it had some movement intraday. You can see it here, but the open and close are very close together. That's sometimes an interpretation of indecision. I don't buy in too much to these candlesticks formations. But if you look at trend radar here, it's completely green, just like gold, super extended. Also, in my view, somewhat unactionable. All right, perfect. So that was the market review, and I do see some questions from Shenaz. Look, can you look at the extended hours of IWM? Yeah, let's have a quick look. So here on TradingView, of course, you can look at the extended hours of the Russell 2000 ETF. Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah, went down. Actually, it's so correlated, all these big indices. This was the bar down and also early signs of a recovery as we go later into the evening yesterday. Perfect. Okie dokie. So now, Nicholas, are there any other questions which I can address right now, or should we move on to our setups?
Sure, yeah, let's try this one from Lenny here. The rest are symbol requests.
Yeah.
Lenny says, good afternoon, Daniel. Just a quick question regarding your long positions in the SPY and QQQs. Is the idea that you're buying stock in the ETFs? He asks you because you're referring to them as long-term investments. So they couldn't be options, right? Or are they? He's wondering about the time decay issue for a long-term investment.
Oh no, they're outright investments into the actual ETF, not option plays. So these are just holding positions, which I have, and I think this is something everybody should consider, because over time, even I can put up the SPY again. I think the SPY is the most obvious candidate. Over time, you pretty much cannot do anything wrong with having a position in the SPY, but you need to hold on to it. Yeah. So there will be corrections, even big ones, as we've seen in the tariff war or during COVID. But over time, over the years, it will go up again. It's been proven over and over again. So having a position there, I think, is just it's a smart form of investment, and I just keep on buying as things pull back. This is when I add on to it.
And Lenny wants to know, gold and silver. Is this always the problem with aggressively trending stocks?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just too expensive. I don't like when things are so high up, extended over the averages. I wait for the pullback. And of course, you may miss out on opportunity as things are grinding higher, but the pullback will come as well. And imagine if you had invested last week in the SPY, where the picture was also very overextended. Look at this. We're up here. You would have now lost quite a bit at 20 points in just one day. So I'm waiting for these opportunities, even if things grind higher over time. Yeah, but that's just my style of looking at things. I like to invest into trending stocks, but at the right moment.
Perfect, Daniel. Okay, you're good to go.
Perfect. All right. So what we're going to do now, of course, we don't want to just review what happened in the market. We want to see what can we do on Monday when the market opens. So for this, we're going to now scan for interesting setups, which oftentimes are high reward and low risk setups. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus on one setup at a time. Based on what we see, we're going to create a hot list. At the end of this session, we're gonna go over this list in our hot list to see which ones we like the best. All right. So the first setup we're gonna start with is a classic setup, and today there are so many interesting candidates because this pullback has opened up so many doors and made so many symbols interesting. We're gonna see which ones these are in just a bit. So the first setup is a bounce setup, which happens ideally for a stock which has been a long-term uptrend. So that's what you want to see. You want to see this long-term uptrend. And as a trend trader, this is really a trend trading strategy, is you don't want to enter when things are extended. Yeah, that's why I don't want to buy into gold right now. Things are expanded. I'm going to wait for a correction, a pullback, and ideally a pullback, which also is signaled by our trend radar indicator, a level 4 pullback potentially. For red levels down. The last one is still green. We call this a healthy pullback. And if this correction to the downside then coincides with a key support level, then we have the trifecta. Long-term uptrend, currently a healthy pullback as per trend radar, and it coincides with a key support level. That's what I like to find. Okay, so an example of this, which we found last week, was Netflix. Beautiful stock, of course, long-term uptrending. It came up all the way down to a key support level. We can see it here to the T, to this key support level here, and then a beautiful bounce off this level. Now we're near this resistance level, but this is what I'm looking for. Stocks which are like Netflix, long-term uptrend at the time here, a level 4 pullback on trend radar. 1, 2, 3, 4 levels down, and then coincides with this key support level. That's what we're looking for right now. So how can we find these symbols? Quite easy. We're going to use our scanner. So as mentioned before, we're scanning through 5,694 symbols right now, and only a few of them will have exactly this kind of Netflix setup from last week. So how do we find these? Well, criteria number 1 was what? I'm actually going to quickly hide some stuff in here just to make it a little bit more easier to follow. Just a second. That's fine. Okay, so what are we looking for? First criteria was you want to find stocks which are in a long-term uptrend. For this, we're going to go to our MA Rush column here, and we'll select bullish. Because MA Rush, of course, is our trend indicator. You can see it here on the chart. I'm just going to show it to you for those of you who are joining us for the first time. Just hide this one here. This is our trend indicator, and it will print these bearish or bullish labels onto your chart. So this is for Agilent, for example. We can see that we went bullish here on March 11, 2024, and then bearish here on 1 year later, basically in 2025. So I want to see stocks which are currently bullish, meaning the last label on the chart is a bullish label. So I can do this by using my this MA Rush column here in our scanner, by using the filter right here and select bullish. And once I do this, you can see that instantaneously, this is not even going to take a second, it takes like a millisecond, it's so fast. We can see that 2,957 stocks of our 5,694 symbols are currently bullish. You can see every single symbol in here has this green arrow pointing upwards and a number next to it. And this number is interesting. This number shows us for how many trading days a stock has been bullish. So for example, see this one here, AEP, Advanced Auto Parts, has been bullish for, look at this number here, 38 trading days. And if you were to count the candles from the last one on the chart all the way back to this label, you will get exactly to this number, to 38. So it's 38 candles since we went bullish. Okay, that was step number 1. Step number 2 is I want to see stocks where we pulled back to a level 4 pullback on trend radar. For example, like this one here, like AAMI. You can see here, this one pulled back exactly as we expected to 1, 2, 3, 4 levels. Perfect. All right, so this is the next step we want to find. How do we find these stocks? And how did I even know that this stock has a level 4 pullback? Was it just luck? No, of course not. I was from the from the angle of my eyes, I was looking at this number here in this pullback column where it says 4, and it's green. Means it's a bullish setup and a level 4 pullback. So bullish trend, we pulled back 4 levels on trend radar. I could see this one here. And the beautiful thing is we can filter by this number by going to our pullback column here and filter for level 4. Done. Now we're down to, in quotes, only 713 stocks, which are bullish to begin with and have a level 4 pullback. But there's one more thing I want to find. I want this pullback, this correction to the downside, to coincide with a key support level as per our trend radar and sorry, our liquidity IQ indicator. You can see it here. We came down, but we're not near this level yet. It's not near enough yet. I want to find stocks where we are even closer to this red zone here, to this key support level, because that's what I'm looking for. Now the prices will bounce off this level and resume the overarching uptrend. How can we find these stocks? Well, we're going to go to our liquidity IQ setup column here, this one, and select long bounce. And the long bounce setup is a setup where we are bouncing to the long side, which can only happen at a support level. So I'm going to click a long bounce here, and now we're down to, again, in quotes, only 47 stocks. As I mentioned in the beginning, there are so many interesting opportunities right now. And to make my life a bit easier, there's one more thing I like to do. I like to sort by trend duration, from the longest trend to the shortest trend, simply by clicking on this Emmy Rush column here. Once I do this, you can see it's now sorted from highest to lowest. The first one that comes up, just quickly see here, is Hawkins. This one here, let's check it out. So Hawkins, a company in basic materials. In fact, let me just quickly hide the exchange here. We don't need that one. The price too, so it's a bit more easy to see. Perfect. Okay, so the first one comes up is this one here. We can see exactly what we're looking for. Isn't that beautiful? Look at this long-term uptrending stock. Great. A level 4 pullback, 1, 2, 3, 4 on trend radar, and look what prices are right at this key support level. That's a super interesting stock. I'm going to add this one to our list. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to create a bit of a hot list here. And there's so many different stocks out there. I won't be able to go through all of them, but I'm going to create it anyway. So I'm going to create a new list. Weekly swing trades with today's date. Okay. So weekly swing trades, colon, 2025, 10, 11. I can't believe it's already October. Oh boy. Summer is gone. It's actually quite cold today in Montreal. Interestingly. Okay. Perfect. So that's an interesting one. So I'm going to add this one to our watch list right now. Our weekly swing trades. And we're also going to do, I'm going to share this watch list with you guys by using this button here. This is an option that I as an admin have. And I'm going to unshare the one from September 6th because it's old now. Done. Perfect. All right. So that's definitely an interesting one. Now, the next one is Heiko Corporation. All right. Let's check it out. How does this one look like? Yeah. Also interesting. Bullish for 1,253 trading days. Level 4 pullback on trend radar. And if you go back a little bit further here, we can see that it is an uptrending stock. There's some corrections along the way. The only thing here with this one is, and I think I mentioned this a few times in prior webinars, is if the support level and another level below are close together, like this former resistance level, which may now act as support, sometimes it is the case that the lower level will be the more important one, will be the level where prices will stop. So here I would just be a bit careful because maybe you're going to see a deeper correction to the downside. I guess it will all depends how we open on Monday. If the news are positive, I think, well, why not get in long here? But it's also possible that prices will come down all the way to this level here. So let's just keep an eye on this. Maybe give us a
Daniel?
bit of a wider stop. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is actually a great point to answer this question. John wants to know, okay, so in a scenario like this, you find a level 4 pullback. Now, what are you looking for as the trigger to get into a long position? I was instinctually thinking coming down to a liquidity level, but what do you look for after you see a level 4 pullback? What's going to make you get in?
Yeah, it really depends how aggressive or how conservative you want to be. Let me actually go to Hawkins back here because I think that was the cleaner setup, which I like the better. So I really like the setup. It looks great. So what you can do now is I potentially would wait here. There's two things to do it. I probably would wait a little bit further until prices come to this level. This is kind of my style. And sometimes, prices won't get there and you miss out on this opportunity. It can happen. But since this week we have so many different symbols, I think that's going to be my approach. I'm going to patiently wait till prices get to this level, and then you could enter right there once prices get to that zone. Or if you want to be even more conservative, you would wait till prices get there and there are signs of a reversal. And that this pullback has come to, and maybe wait until prices have turned up a little bit, and at that point enter into it. But of course, then you may get into at a bit of a worse price, but at least you have a bit of my extra confirmation in there. So two different approaches. It's a bit up to your trading style. And there's of course also some in-betweens that you can scale into a position with small position sizes and then, many different ways. But I like this. I do like this setup here a lot at Hawkins. Looks nice. Okay,
Yep. Thank you, Daniel.
great. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Hilton Worldwide Holdings. Actually, we almost put this up on our um on our newsletter last week as a potential long entry. We decided on a different symbol afterwards, but also this one is interesting. Long-term uptrend, hold back to a key support level. The only thing here which I don't like too much is that it's been taking a while for this bounce to happen. Oftentimes, if it's taking too long, this could be also seen like a bear flag here, where there might be another leg further down. So it doesn't, I like bounces to happen right away. We get into a level and then bounce right away. Get into a level, bounce right away. Here it's taking a bit too long for my taste. It's just a very slow moving stock, I guess. But nonetheless, it's a valid setup. So I'm going to add this one also to our list here, despite the fact that it's taking a bit long. Okay, next one is the XLI sector, the industry sector of the S&P 500. As we know, oh my goodness. That one was, how big was that move down? Let me just quickly look at the percent change for the day. Oh, just 2.4%. So this is sometimes, where a chart can be quite misleading. This was just 2.4%. There was much bigger moves out there last week, but this is, yeah, still in there. So I guess it was just because it looked really big because I was zoomed out. If I bring this back to perspective, it looks better. Yeah, I believe we discussed this one in our lunch and learn session where we said, hey, prices are at this resistance level. We may see a bounce. It has happened now. Bounce of resistance down to the support level here. And if you look at the overtime performance of this one here, I think it could also be an interesting candidate to enter into this ETF. Um, so maybe even more interesting than the SPY itself, but of course it's not as diversified. Nonetheless, an interesting symbol for a potential long entry. I'm going to add this one as well to our watch list. All right, we're going to Banco Bilbao, Argentina. Aubrey, you are an invest into these equities. I never tried to buy a South American stock or whatever that country, or I guess Argentinian stock here. But yeah, interesting setup. Pullback to support. And I believe we actually called this one out. Let me just quickly look at my trade notes here. On July 2013, we called this one out when it was at 15, I guess down here somewhere, as an interesting long trade. Yeah, that's would have worked out beautifully. The symbol now, a bit of a pullback here too. Yeah, interesting one. So I'm going to add this to our watch list nonetheless. All right, perfect. And you can see there's so many different opportunities. I'm just going to skip a couple of these ones here. Leave it up to you guys to go through all of these. Let's just open up one more, which is, of course, very well known as Amazon.
Daniel,
Down here.
on those symbols
Yeah.
there you got, sorry to interrupt you, but just a question so someone can follow along. They have the
Mhm.
dashboard through Acorn Wealth, and they don't have access to all the stuff you're showing, it seems. They say, what do? I cannot see the extended hour button. Do you know about this?
Oh, the extended hour button, that's just in pure trading view. This one you don't have. Even this dashboard
Ah,
doesn't have
okay.
it. Yeah. But if you don't see these scans, Liquidity IQ and Liquidity IQ setup, that means your subscription is just for the Acorn products, but not for our liquidity level products.
So
So if
Shanaz, the extended hour button, that's not the dashboard. That's just tradingview.com, just so you
that's
know.
correct. That's correct. Yeah. And let me just quickly see something. If I go to live mode here, do we have extended hours? Nah, we don't. Yeah, it's only available in the actual TradingView platform. Okay. Okay, so Amazon is interesting too. I took a small Amazon position when we came down here to September 25, and the expectation we're gonna, at least approach this resistance level up here. We didn't get that far. Of course, Amazon also went down quite a bit on Fridays. Every major stock went down 4.35%. Amazon actually more than others. But I still see this as an interesting opportunity to potentially go long here after this 4% pullback to maybe it goes down a bit further to also establish a long position. I think with Amazon, just like many of these big stocks, over time, there's not much you can do wrong with these ones, and we may see a nice recovery afterwards. I'm going to add Amazon also to our list just to see what happens, but to keep track of it. All right, perfect. Good. And there's one more thing I wanted to show you guys. Remember the liquidity capture events I mentioned earlier, which are bars which wick or go into a resistance level or go into a support level that happens to the downside, and they have abnormally high volume. And if this happens, oftentimes at least in my view, it increases the chance that a pullback is happening instead, rather than a break above this level. So what you can do in our scanner here, for example, you can actually scan for these events. So we're going to keep all our filters on. And in addition to all these, we're going to ask the scanner, hey, only show me symbols where we had a support level liquidity capture at the last bar, the current bar. Now we're down to only 15 stocks here. We already looked at Heiko and Hilton, and actually Banco Bilbao too. But the fourth one here, for example, is Mueller Water Products and Industrials. Yeah, it went down. You can see here, level 4 pullback, long-term bullish stock. We are right at support, and we did have, sorry for this jumping, we did have a liquidity capture on the last bar. So that's an interesting one too. Yeah, potentially for a long entry. So I'm going to add this one as well to our list. So this is something else you can do with our scanner. Perfect. Okay. All right. So if there are no questions on this one, and Aubrey says he's on a free wire of BBVA. Yes. How much dividend do you get there, Aubrey? Let me see what it says here. Aubrey brings up a nice point. He's, yeah, I guess he's playing with house money now on the stock. I made his profits. And of course, we can also see how many dividends the stock pays. So I've got a dividend yield here, 4.61%. That's pretty decent. All right, great. Thanks, Aubrey, for sharing.
We got a question here, Daniel. You know your shared watch list that you provide to all users?
Yeah.
Do you also share the notes? Because Marcus says that he doesn't have your notes with screenshots.
Yeah, not yet. That's something we are working on. So Marcus, that's not available yet. It takes a bit longer to implement a feature like this, but it's on our to-do list. Yes.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so what I want to do now, I want to look at another setup. And if you joined us for a while now, you know that one of my favorite setups is what we call the zone break retrace setup. So what is that? Well, a precondition for a zone break retrace is that we need to break either support to the downside or resistance to the upside. So nothing lasts forever. We're never going to bounce forever in between those levels. Eventually, they will be broken. If you break, for example, support to the downside, there may be a nice follow-through afterwards. But with one nuance is that prices may come back for one or maybe two times back to this broken level. You can see here we broke support. We initially go down, back up to the broken support level, and then the actual move starts. Okay, and the same thing can happen to the upside when we break above resistance, this green line here, we go up, and then we retrace back to the broken level, and then the actual move starts. So we call this the zone break retrace setup, because that's exactly what's happening here. Zone break, bit of a follow through, retrace back to the broken level, and then the actual move starts. So how can we scan for this? And this used to be a very selective setup, and it's still very selective, but because of the big pullback where everything followed suit on Friday, actually quite a few stocks qualify today for the setup. So how can we find it? I'm gonna clear my filters here. All right, I'm gonna scroll over to our Liquidity IQ setup column, which we're gonna use for this, and I will select long break retrace. Here we go, and we can see 87 stocks for a long break retrace. That's actually quite unheard of. That's probably the biggest number I've seen in a long time. Normally we have like maybe 12 or 13, 87, and that's all because we pulled back so much. And just to keep this a little bit more in check, I'm also gonna only look for stocks which are currently, let me just quickly see which are currently in an confirmed uptrend as well. So I'm gonna use MA Rush also to look for bullish stocks. Now we're down to 79. All right. And perhaps just to keep it simple, I might mainly focus on US stocks. I'm going to put my exchange column here to see stocks which are on the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ. But nonetheless, the first one that qualifies actually is this one here, a British stock on the London Stock Exchange. You can see it here. Oh, yeah. Wow, what a weird, what is this one? Oh, this is the S&P 500 equivalent trade on the London Stock Exchange. We already discussed this one. I'm gonna, in fact, I guess these are the two ones following the S&P 500 just traded on a different exchange. I'm gonna skip this one. We already discussed that I like this pullback right now on the S&P 500 a lot. So then the third one here is GATX Corp in industrials, traded on the London Stock Exchange. And what do we have here? we can see, okay, that symbol is bullish for 1,224 trading days. All right. We can also see that we did a break above resistance here on September 18 and a nice calm move backwards towards the zone. This is more what I prefer, that the speed at which we go up is pretty much the same as the speed as we go down. Unlike the Nasdaq or the QQQ, remember, where we went up and then one shot we went down. This is more like the speed I would like to see. The only thing here is that these bars seem to be kind of volatile all over the place. Nonetheless, I kind of like it. It's a bit. It's not the cleanest one. It is clean, but I mean the bars are kind of really jumpy ever since we broke above this resistance level. I'm going to add it, and later on we can qualify it a bit further. So perfect. All right. The next one is HSBC Holdings. Oh, I'm interested in this one. HSBC, of course, a big bang. Oh, interesting. I like this one for several reasons. Can you guess why? Okay, what do we see here? First of all, a very nicely bullish trending stock. That looks good. Zone break here on September 10th. We went up, quick move downwards, but a big gap here. And you know what I say about gaps? These gaps tend to get filled over time. Oh yeah, I do like this setup. And we're tracing back to the resistance level here, which now is acting as support. This could be an interesting stock for sure. HSBC Holdings PLC. So I'm going to add this one. And I wonder if there is an HSBC ADR which could be used or trade on the New York Stock Exchange. Let me just quickly see, just for the fun of it. HSBC, only this one. I'm going to clear this filter just real quick. Yeah, this one here on the New York Stock Exchange. I wonder why it didn't register here. Just a quick look. Oh, it looks a bit different here. That's so interesting because of the different trading hours. Sort of is a bit different. There's no key support level. He was still further away, but nonetheless, I believe this is an interesting stock, regardless of whether the support levels are a bit different here on this chart. Yeah, interesting. So whether you take the New York Stock Exchange equivalent or the London Stock Exchange one, both are interesting. And interestingly, also the dividend yield is different for the two. Huh, wonder why that is. All right. Now back to my setups here. Going back to Liquidity IQ, set up to long break retrace, and you see how fast this filtering is. This is almost 6,000 symbols. This doesn't even take a second to load and reflect. Okay, perfect. So that was HSBC. Now go Atalem Global Education. Okay, ATGE and Consumer Defensive. Bullish for 807 trading days, and that's also a good looking one. Look at how beautiful we went up and then down here right to this key or to this pro forma resistance level with a level 3 pullback on trend radar. Yep, I do like it. I'm going to add this one also to our list. All right. And perhaps one more. And again, we can't go through all of these. Flex LTD pulled back 5% on Friday. Wow. Yeah, this one is not clean enough for me. Big bars, a bit indecision here. I'm going to skip this one. I think we have nicer, cleaner setup. So perhaps this one here, STRL, Sterling's Infrastructure Inc., 5% down. Yeah, kind of in the same boat. So I'm going to skip these ones. But I do believe that there were some interesting stocks to trade. Also, this is nice. Lope, Grand Canyon Education Inc. Zone break here on September 15, move upwards to 220. Now the retracement to 207. If you go down maybe to 202, 203, this could also be an interesting long entry setup. Let me just add this one to our list here as well. Perfect. All right. Any questions besides symbol requests, Nicholas, at this point?
Let's hit some right now. So we have one from Paula. Okay, so Paula says she tried setting up a dynamic watch list and having it emailed to her, but doesn't think she's receiving the emails. Do you have any tips for that, or maybe any ideas off the top of your head?
Oh, no. Besides, this should work. So you can create your dynamic watch list, and then you can go to your alerts here and just have that sent to you. So Paula, you're saying you click on send now, and there's nothing coming to your inbox. Send me a mail afterwards. Paula, we will check our log files.
Thank you, Daniel. Okay, the next one's from Ron. Are the different scans, criteria slash parameters listed somewhere? So I put two links in the chat because we also have a
Yeah,
question we'll answer in a sec. If you're curious about the setups Daniel looks for, you can check out our free ebook, tradingindicators.com/power of three, and also the full boot camp. We have a 2-hour new boot camp on the dashboard. Daniel, I'm
yeah,
sure that you cover a lot of our scan
yes,
stuff in that
that's
video.
right. Yeah, we
Perfect.
just explain every single of these columns. And, everybody's a different preference, I guess, and looks for different things. So what we do in the bootcamp is we explain what every column does, allowing you to really mix and match what you're looking for.
Thank you. Okay, the next one's from John. So John, I suggest you read I put it in the chat. It's the Power of Three ebook. It's going to explain it a lot clearer, but John wants to know what's the difference between a long bounce and a zone break retrace? Is it that the long bounce is not near a zone break? And the answer is no. A long bounce is when price comes down to support, a support level, the red lines. Is that right, Daniel? You can kind
Yeah,
of see
that's
it as a bounce, right? A zone break retrace, but it's
it's
not
it's
from
kind of the
support.
it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, they own. I mean, it's definitely a bullish play where you wait for a pullback to happen before you enter. And the difference is that a zone break retrace comes down to a broken resistance level, which at this point is technically support because it was broken, but it's shown as green on the chart. So we first have to break above it and then come down to it. Whereas a bounce, we have to come down to an actual support level, which is reddish on the chart here. But you're right. In theory, it's kind of the same setup. Are we bouncing off a level to the bullish side?
Yeah, and once a resistance is broken, right, it becomes a support. A support's broken, it becomes a resistance. So it's good to also just see them as liquidity levels. That's why it's called Liquidity View, Liquidity IQ. Um, the next one, Kevin, you were talking about HSBC, Daniel. He's just pointing out he saw a report. They might be going private.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, that's I guess a due diligence that everybody should do. For longer term investment, of course, for swing trading to some degree too. But we're looking for swing trades here. So I think these fundamentals, of course, unless it happens the next 2 weeks or so, next 3 weeks, are perhaps not as important. But of course, for longer term investments, that's something you want to consider for sure.
Perfect. And the last one, Van wants to know, do you place the earnings symbol onto your chart to know when earnings is coming up?
Yeah, we have it here. That we have an indicator here called corporate actions. If you don't see it, you can click this reset button here or just find it here under the trading indicators. These ones here is called corporate actions. Actually, it's hidden right now. I was hiding it before when I explained the individual indicators, and it shows you the next earnings coming out when there were prior earnings. Cool.
Thanks,
Yep.
Daniel. And every scan recording goes on our YouTube, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if anybody I was also curious about the setups Daniel did, you can see Daniel every week. We are setting up pretty much the same scans to look for different things, if you're curious. And the link for that is in the chat,
Perfect.
our YouTube.
All right. So, okay. And Andreas is saying Netflix did a nice bounce last week. Yes, absolutely. So Netflix was one of the better ones that we picked. Was big volatile week today. So many symbols did lose on Friday, but Netflix was a nice, beautiful bounce setup off the support level. Long-term uptrending stock came down to support with the liquidity capture event. Then off it goes, or off it went last week. All right, so let's have a quick look of what symbols we picked for today. Of course, there's so many opportunities. I can only cover a few of them. So we have 10 different stocks here. And let's see what these are. Hawkins. That's, I believe, probably one of my favorite ones here. What a nice, consistent uptrend moving up here. If prices come down to this level here, I think I'm going to look into a long position of Hawkins. I'm going to play it out, whether I do it with options or outright or maybe selling some puts. That's perhaps something we can discuss if this is still relevant on Tuesday in our lunch and learn session. But at least this is a nice bullish setup. So I'm going to go to my trade notes here. I'm going to add this one to our trade notes. All right, done. Next, GATX Corp. All right. Yeah, this is zone break retrace setup, break above this level here. Just big bars here. I would just wait for this one. I want to see what's happening on Monday, where prices go. I'm not going to do this prematurely because I have a feeling, because we had so many down days leading up to this, maybe it's kind of catching a falling knife, and this could go a bit deeper, this correction. So I'm just going to be more cautious on this one. I'm not going to add a trade in for this one here. HSBC Holdings, yes, I like it. Always had great dividend paying stock to 5% with a nice up down gap here. So I like what I'm seeing here. Also level 4 pullback on trend radar, long-term trending stock definitely for our list on for the week. All right. ATGE, Atalam Global Education. Yeah, another nice zone break retrace. I like it. Adding it to our list. Perfect. All right. Next, the Grand Canyon Education Inc. Okay. How did it look here? Yeah, I'm gonna skip this one because I have a feel, but of course I might be completely wrong that this gap might get tested. I'm a big believer in these gaps. And in fact, we do have something coming up for you guys very soon, in a couple of weeks, for getting some more intelligence on these gaps and sense that, hey, how many times do these gaps get filled? For bullish and bearish gaps. How long does it take on average? Information like this, which you can then use to potentially further filter your trades, or perhaps even make this as a trade. Maybe you're going to anticipate, hey, this gap is likely to get filled. I'm going to go short here, which I wouldn't do in this case, but these things you will be able to do when this new indicator comes out. Hilton Worldwide Holdings. I still like it. I still think it has a good chance of a bounce here. We did have a liquidity capture on our last bar. The only thing I don't like too much about this is that it takes a long time for it. But this is, I guess, just the nature of the stock. Look at this one here. It went up to resistance. It took a long time for it to bounce. Now they're at support. It's also taking its dear time. You know what? I'll play ball. I'm going to add this one as well to my list for next week. Okay, there we go. The industrial select sector. All right. So I like it, but if I were to I think go long a sector, I probably would just take the S&P 500, which has the sector somewhat included. Of course, to much lesser weight. And the other thing is that, this support level here and this resistance level, they're fairly close together. Meaning, even if you see a bounce, it might be just to this level here. I'm gonna skip it just because they're a bit close. Banco Bilbao, always favorite stock. He says he's having a free ride right now. Nice dividend paying stock. Very gappy, but I guess that's just maybe because of the trading hours. But it could be a nice opportunity to get into. There's lots of gaps which potentially will want to get filled to the downside. I like it. I'm gonna keep an eye on this, but I'm gonna add a trade note to this. So we had a trade note back in July 2000 or 13th of July this year. Let's add one with today's timestamp as well. And the cool thing, guys, by the way, is if you have all these trade notes, what you can do, you can scroll through them. You see, you can have multiple trade notes for a symbol. So now we have this one here with today's timestamp, and I can go back to the one from July with the setup that we had here, and then perhaps prior to that to the one in May at 15. Yeah, I guess we pointed this one out quite a few times already, didn't we? All right, Mueller Water Products. Okay, let's have a look here. Zoom out a little bit. Here we have a situation, and it's just my feeling, of course, where we have multiple of these support levels very close to each other. Oftentimes, it's the lower ones which are the more powerful ones. And if that's the case, prices will come down a bit lower. I'm going to stay on the sidelines for this one for this reason. And then Amazon, yes, Amazon dropped down a lot, but I think it has the potential to also come back quickly a lot. Amazon is a stock which I want to have in my portfolio regardless in the long time. It doesn't pay any dividends, but I think it's such a broad stock that this pullback could actually be an interesting, opportunity to scale into even an investment position in Amazon. So I'm going to add it to our watch list. Alrighty, perfect. I think very nice stocks for this week. I'm super excited already for next week and definitely going to action on some of those and what these are. And if I take any positions, I'm going to detail in our lunch and learn session on. Oh, I guess it's on Monday already. It's true. Our next lunch and learn is once again on Monday at 11 a.m. for the last time. Then we're going to go back to our regular schedule on Tuesdays. All right. Great. Niklas, do we have symbol requests rolling in?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let me just scroll back up to the top. Okay, can you review XPRO?
Yes, let's have a look.
And they say, John wrote, explain the positions of support and resistance zones and the liquidity captures. They don't seem to make sense to him on this chart. And what does the E icon represent? Yes, that's earnings, John. So here he says he doesn't understand why there's liquidity captures and what's happening with support and resistance right now.
Yeah, that's. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. And that's actually one of those. I know why you're saying this. I think you also sent an email, I believe, to us, and I think I mentioned, hey, ask this question in the scanning session. Yes, it's a bit of an abnormality here because we see this red level here, which is labeled as a support zone, and then we have a resistance level below that support zone. And we say, oh my God, that's a reverse. What's going on? Is this the upside down? No, that can happen. And there's some technical reasons for this, and also some more conceptual reasons for this. The technical reason is that that support zones, they are caused by, let me just try to find the reason for this one here, are caused by swing lows. We need to have a swing low as a precondition for a support zone to be established. You can see this one here, big swing low. This one established back then here in 2023, this support level. It always needs to start with some sort of swing low. Whereas the resistance zone, these are caused by swing highs, like these high points here, that's resulted in this resistance level, or even below here, we had some swing highs, which resulted into this resistance level. And sometimes, just because the price action is that way, it leads to the fact that a support level, at least a highlighted support, a labeled support level, is above resistance level. But then again, you also need to understand that there are more than just two levels. There's not just one support level and one resistance level on the chart. There are many of them. You can see here is 1, 2, 3, 4, all kinds of levels here. And what the indicator does, it just labels the one closest to price. So whatever zone is closest to price are being labeled here, but there are other ones as well, like this one here. That's also a valid resistance level. And down here we have some support levels. Just the one nearest the price are labeled. So that's the conceptual reason why, in this case, it appears as reversed. But if this happens oftentimes, truth be told, it means that price action is kind of all over the place. It's not a very clear picture, so I would probably just stay away from this symbol. We don't have to force trade a particular symbol, right? So many symbols that we can trade. So if you have a case like this, maybe just skip that one and go on to the next one.
Thanks, Daniel. The next one is Pony, Pony.
Yeah. Pony AI. All right. Oh, big drop, 11.94%
Wow.
on yeah, on Friday. Yeah. Let's see if you see a clear picture here. It's a bit hard to interpret because there's not much price data available yet. This stock only IPO'd in November 2024, November last year, less than a year so far. Kind of sideways if you look at this one. If you try to break above this resistance level, didn't really make it very far. Now the move downwards, yeah, it's hard to interpret because there's not enough price data available yet. But overall, I would say this is rather bullish than bearish. But of course, we have to see how far this correction goes down.
Definitely. And Kevin, since I trade stock options, can you best charts and lower price? Yeah, you can definitely filter for lower price stocks with higher volume. That's possible. The next symbol is Coinbase.
Yeah, and Kevin, just real quick, how to do it is we have a price column here, also a volume column here. So you can find these ones. And then, of course, we also have a column called optionable, this one here, which shows you whether there is a liquid options chain even available for the symbol.
Oh, actually, Daniel, before we go to coin, I missed one. Could you go back to HWKN from the watch list, please?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, Hawkins. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and Lenny wanted to know why that level in Hawken. Maybe you're talking about your desired, yeah, your box down there. Why that level? Is it just a level below the close, or is it something else? How come you're picking that? And
I
it's the
just want
support
price
zone.
to come right at the support level. We're still a bit away from it. So I think there might be still a bit extra room left to get an even better entry price.
It might just be a bit hard to see the line there, but Lenny, you can see in the bottom right of Daniel's cursor, there's
Let's
an
see it.
annotation that says support zone 166 to 160, I think
Yeah.
160. Okay, so the next one's Coinbase.
Yeah. All right. I guess Coinbase also lost. Bitcoin went down. Coinbase to some degree correlated. Yeah, we came down here. Okay, in the magnet zone, classic magnet zone setup right now. You can see magnet zone means we are in the middle, in between support and resistance. It's bullish. I would potentially wait for it to come down even further before establishing a long position. But yeah, overall, definitely bullish sentiment. Mhm.
Perfect. Okay. And the next one is AppLovin, I think APP.
APP, okay. Sorry, there we go. Okay. Oh, lost 4%, 4.96%. Long break retrace setup. Ah, that's cool. That's an interesting one. And I think I mentioned this one in my German webinar right before this one. Yeah, looks good. Zone break here. A bit of a gap here, which may get tested. So just be aware of this. This gap has not been filled yet. Went up all the way down. And yeah, kind of like it for a long trade.
That's actually great. That's a really interesting one, Daniel, because look at that gap fill right at the resistance. If you get that, if you
Which,
rebound from that gap back to the highs, that's a 50% gain
yeah,
from like
yeah, it's a
480 to
big
730.
moving,
It's huge moves.
big moving. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna add this one to our watch list as well. Good call. Thanks for that. And of course, this can happen. Of course, we
That
didn't
was
go
from
through every
Adam
single.
Jacobs.
Hey, thanks, Adam. Okay. All right. Next one, please.
Next
Clack.
one
Let's
is
see.
the last one here is KLAC, Clack, KLAC.
Yeah. All right. Also a long break retrace. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's gap fill done already. Also nice one. I do like it. Where's this being traded? It's very expensive. Is this a British? No, I don't think so. On the Nasdaq. Oh, pricey stock, huh? Let me just look at the bigger picture here. Where are we coming from in this particular stock? Yeah, I mean there's some volatility along the way, but I think this pullback could be an interesting once again opportunity to enter long. Yeah, I like it. Also for a long play, absolutely. Zone break, retrace down to the level. Looks good.
Okay, and the last one here finally is from VAPA PDD.
PDD. All right. PDD Holdings lost 4% on Friday. 30 bullish for 33 trading days. Okay. Yeah, it's fighting with this level here, huh? This key resistance level. Let me just see what happened before. Yeah, it seems very sideways to me, and I would not be surprised, but if you see a bigger move downwards here, because that's kind of a sideways pattern we're in here. We came up to the upper end of it, not the complete upper end, but this one here, it may just bounce towards the middle of this channel here. It's just that's how it feels to me. Great. All right. Well, guys, let me go back to my slides real quick because a quick reminder that we do have this ebook, of course, which you can download for free at this link. It's in the chat. And what I forgot to mention in the beginning, if you want to try our great Liquidity View dashboard, and we are constantly extending it and changing things around and adding new symbols to it too, give it a try at tradingindicators.com/view. That link is also in the chat, and you can use it for 1 week fully free. And afterwards, we have interesting monthly and yearly options. And of course, there's no contract. So if you want to quit, hopefully you won't, but if you want to, you can. After a month, absolutely no problem. If you're on the monthly contract, and of course, for the yearly, same thing after your term is done. Okay, guys, with this, yeah, I wish you all a great weekend. I hope you can find some time to relax. I myself will not panic. Actually, look at this pullback on Friday as an opportunity. We'll see how Monday the market will open. If it opens nearby or even bullish, I think that could be a good sign to enter into some of these trades that we pointed out. All right. With this, guys, have a great weekend. Watch out for your money and stay safe, stay healthy. Bye bye. Thanks, Nicholas. Bye, guys.